Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an Outlaw Trails, the role-playing game story. I'm titling this one The Waterholes. Before I get into this, though, if you enjoy my content, it would really help me out if you'd hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, share my content on social media, and post a comment or two. Remember, I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. If you enjoy a good book, check out my author page on Amazon.com. My pen name is H.L. Anderson, and you can find all of my books there. I like to think I write good stories that make people think. I hope you find some of my books that you enjoy, and I hope you like them. All right. Years ago, my friends Earl and Kevin and I were playing in my friend Bobby's game. We'd hired on to a pack train toting supplies to a mine deep in the desert. There were 10 mules and 5 drovers. It was hot as hell, and there were only 3 water holes between the town and the mine, so the route was pretty well set in stone. We couldn't deviate at all because of the distance and the fact that we needed the water. You had to go from water hole to water hole to get there. There was no real way to. Everybody knew where you were headed. Let's just leave it like that. We'd been hired to guard the mules carrying the supplies because the Apaches were raiding all over the area. The trip there, as I said, was okay. We took our time. We didn't want to tire out the mules. The heat was terrific, so we were using a lot of water to get there. The water holes were a welcome sight. We got past the last water hole. We made it all the way to the mine, and as we approached the mines, we realized that something was wrong. There was no activity, and several of the shacks had been burned down. The 5 drovers immediately rode for some rocks for cover. They took the mules with them. We 3 pulled our rifles and we rode in. The Apaches had hit the mines and wiped out all of the miners. Once we'd secured the area, the drovers came in and we were able to look around and figure out what was going on. They'd killed the miners but left everything else. They'd taken food and like that, and weapons, but they'd left everything else. There were piles of gold ore locked in several storage chutes. Um, we sat down to a meal that evening and hashed it out. We all agreed to pack out as much gold as our mules could carry and split it evenly because the people who were paying us were dead. There wasn't nothing left to do. Um, we were going to pack out as much gold as we could carry, and that way at the end we could split it evenly among all of us. And it sure beat the $50 wages that we were promised. So we needed 1 mule for grub and water all the way back, and so that's 1,300 pounds of gold ore we could carry because we could hit the water holes on the way back. We only needed 1 animal for that, but we could carry 1,300 pounds of gold ore. It wasn't actually gold; it was gold ore. We had to separate it and all, but anyway. In the morning, we loaded up the mules and headed out. The first water hole was 2 days away, and at sundown of the first day, we noticed a campfire a few miles off. We didn't think it was Apache, because they wouldn't leave such a big trace, so we found a defensible spot and made a cold camp. We hid from them. We reached the water hole in the late afternoon, and it was a welcome sight. We stripped down the animals, let them roll, and then let them drink water, and we made our camp, or the drovers rather made camp, while we stood watch. Sure enough, a group of riders approached. Kevin shouted for them to stop and asked what they wanted. They said that they wanted water. Kevin said that we were we were going to leave in the morning and then they could have the water hole to themselves. They immediately started shooting at us. They killed 1 drover and my horse, and I was pissed. We took up positions and fired back. The siege lasted all night with no real advantage being gained. We were running low on ammo, and by morning they were shooting a lot less, so I figured they were probably running low on ammo too. Kevin and Earl crawled over to me and we talked. Kevin wanted to attack. Earl wanted to make a run for it. We didn't have the ammo or numbers to risk an attack, and the mules were carrying too much weight to run fast. So neither one of those were going to work out. So we talked about it and we came up with an idea. The drovers and one of us would take the mules and head on, while 2 of us would stay behind and keep the the bandits, for lack of a better word, out of the waterhole. We'd hold them as long as we could and then ride like hell and catch them at the next waterhole. So we drew lots, and Kevin and I were set to stay, which was okay with me because I'd already lost my horse. So, Kevin and I were going to stay. We scavenged as much ammunition as possible from the drovers, and Earl gave us all he could from his packs. That night, Earl took the drovers and they headed out. They left Kevin's horse and the dead drover's horse. That way, we had a way to ride and catch up. Kevin and I basically shot at anything we saw moving for the entire night. We made it back, or basically we made it look like we were still there. The next day, we took a lot of fire. I think the bandits were getting desperate for the water. About noon, Kevin figured out that they had split up and were trying to circle around to flank us. I moved around to try and cut them off. There were 3 men there, and we fired at each other. I scored 2 hits, but they hit me as well. I was hurt really bad. Kevin got me on that drover's horse, and he mounted his horse. We rode out of there and caught up to the mule train at the next waterhole. I have no idea what happened to the bandits, don't care. Unfortunately, that night, while we were at the waterhole recuperating, we were surrounded by Apaches. The next morning they attacked, they targeted the mules and the horses. Once they were down, we were trapped, we were low on ammo, we had no horses. Yeah. You can see where this is going. We all died. But we had the gold. We died rich. Yeah, that doesn't do a whole hell of a lot. Anyway. Yeah, when you're in a role-playing game and you have a choice between your life and money, you can always get more money. Making up a new character is a pain in the ass. Hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good one. God bless one and all. We elect cookie-cutter politicians every single election cycle. Yes men who maintain the status quo and do just enough to make us believe the system still works. Imagine, if you will, a president who actually tries to fix things. If you like action, political intrigue, and a righteous crusade, check out my political thriller, The Righteous President.